The Jiang and Luo clans had been enemies for longer than anyone alive could remember. Their names were carved into the bones of history, not as allies but as rivals drenched in blood. Children were taught from the cradle that the other clan was the shadow that must never be trusted, the poison in the river, the hand that held the knife at their backs. I grew up with those words echoing in my skull. Every swing of my sword had been drilled into me with one truth: never spare a Luo, never hesitate, never falter. Our clan's survival was written in the blood of our enemies, and I was meant to be the sharpest blade to carry that law forward. And I believed it. I lived it. Until the night of the crimson moon. The battlefield stretched wide beneath the mountain ridges. Torches burned in the dark like fireflies trapped in the hands of demons. Blood streaked the grass, soaking into the earth as if the land itself had grown drunk on death. The air stank of iron, sweat, and smoke heavy enough to choke. I stood at the edge of chaos, my blade already wet and dripping. My breathing was steady, practiced, but my heart hammered too loudly like it wanted to betray me. And then I saw him. Luo Wei. He moved across the battlefield like he belonged to another world, sharp, precise, untouchable. His sword cut through my clansmen with the grace of a falcon swooping on prey, every strike efficient, every movement like a storm contained in human flesh. He was beauty twisted into danger, a rhythm of violence that made my chest tighten instead of burn with hatred. I froze. For a heartbeat, the roar of battle dulled, fading to a low hum in my ears. The world narrowed to that single figure under the crimson moonlight. My enemy. My opposite. My forbidden reflection. And then his eyes found mine. Even from across the chaos, I felt it, the jolt that ran through my veins like fire, hatred laced with something else, something I dared not name. When our blades finally met, steel screamed against steel. The first strike rattled through my arm, sparks flying as our swords clashed, bound and then slid apart. His face was suddenly close, his jaw sharp, his skin glistening with sweat beneath the moon's glow. We locked again, blades pressed, chest to chest. His breath ghosted hot against my cheek, and I hated the way my pulse stuttered at the contact. The smell of him, iron, smoke, sweat, clung to me, sinking into my skin. "You're Jiang Yan?" he hissed, his lips close enough that I almost felt them move against my ear. The air they call unbreakable. I forced my blade harder against his, meeting his gaze with steel of my own. "And you're Luo Wei, the wolf of your clan. The one I was raised to kill." Our weapons strained, but neither of us moved. I felt the heat of his body pressed into mine, the tremor of his muscles beneath the fabric of his robe, the pounding of his heart against my chest. And my thoughts betrayed me. Instead of wondering how best to kill him, I wondered what it would feel like to touch him, without steel, without hate. The fight dragged us out of the blood and screams, deeper into the shadows of the forest edge. Leaves scattered beneath our boots, branches snapping as we collided again and again. His blade grazed my shoulder, close enough to sting, and instead of anger, something dark and thrilling pulsed through me. "Your form falters," Luo taunted, his voice low, intimate in the quiet of the trees. "Are you trembling because of me?" A growl tore from my throat as I shoved him hard against the rough bark of a tree, my blade pressing into his throat. "You think too highly of yourself." Even with steel at his neck, he smiled, slow, knowing. His eyes burned into mine as he leaned in, close enough that our foreheads nearly touched. "Then finish it. Strike me down, Jiang Air. Do it." My hand tightened on the hilt, but my blade refused to move. My chest heaved, my pulse betrayed me, my body screamed a truth I could no longer deny. Our breaths tangled, hot, erratic. "You can't," he whispered. And the words slipped out of me raw and ragged. "No, I can't." The first touch wasn't of blades. It was my hand sliding from his sword arm to his wrist, gripping tight as if I could control the chaos within me. It should have been dominance, but the tremor in my fingers told a different story. He noticed. Of course he noticed. His lips tilted into that maddening smirk as he leaned forward, so close his mouth brushed my cheek. The night held its breath. I should have shoved him away, should have buried my sword in his chest. Instead, I tilted my head, letting the forbidden heat overtake me. When our lips met, it was no gentle mistake. It was hunger, violence turned into desire, desperate and raw. His tongue forced its way past my lips, claiming, demanding. A groan ripped out of me, shameful and unrestrained. My grip on his wrist faltered, sliding to his waist, pulling him into me like I couldn't bear an inch of distance. Our swords fell, clattering into the dirt, forgotten. Hands roamed recklessly. Mine slid beneath his robes, finding the heat of his skin, gripping hard enough to bruise. His fingers clawed at me in return, tugging fabric loose, seeking more. Every touch was reckless, every kiss fire against fire, fueled by the knowledge that if anyone found us, death would be merciful compared to the shame. His mouth trailed fire along my jaw, down the line of my neck, his teeth scraping, biting, claiming me in ways no enemy ever should. "You taste like war," he breathed against my throat. I fisted my hand in his hair, yanking his face back up, sealing my mouth over his again with fury and need. The tree bark dug into his back as I pressed him harder, our bodies grinding together, the friction unbearable, intoxicating. For the first time in my life I felt alive. Not as a son. Not as an heir. Not as a warrior. But as a man drowning in desire. Moonlight spilled through the branches, silver light painting his skin as we finally tore apart, gasping, lips swollen, eyes blazing. His hand cupped my face, thumb brushing against my mouth with a tenderness that cut deeper than any blade. His smirk had softened, just slightly, enough to twist something sharp inside me. "Our clans would kill us for this," he murmured. My chest rose and fell, every breath a battle. "Then let them try." We stood there, foreheads pressed together, swords abandoned, oaths broken. What bound us wasn't blood or loyalty anymore. It was the burn of lips, the heat of touch, the terrifying truth neither of us could deny. It was something more destructive than war. It was love born in blood and sin. And though I couldn't say the word, though he wouldn't either, we both knew it. The crimson moon had changed everything. The morning after the crimson moon battle, the forest was quiet. Too quiet. The fallen had been buried, the wounded carried back to their clans, and yet I couldn't rid myself of the memory that haunted me, the taste of Luo Wei's lips, the heat of his body pressed against mine, the way our blades had fallen into the dirt, forgotten in the rush of forbidden hunger. I had washed my sword a dozen times, but it wasn't blood I was trying to cleanse, it was that kiss. That treacherous, intoxicating kiss. And still when I closed my eyes I could feel it. 3 nights later, I found myself in the bamboo grove near the border of our territories. I told myself I was there for patrol, for strategy, for anything but what my heart screamed. I wanted to believe the lies I told myself, but deep down, I knew why my feet had carried me there. Then he stepped out of the shadows. Clad in black, his long hair unbound and falling over his shoulders, Luo Wei looked less like an enemy warrior and more like temptation made flesh. His blade hung at his hip, untouched. His eyes, sharp and mocking, softened the moment they met mine. "You came," he said, his voice so low the wind almost carried it away. My jaw tightened. "This is foolish. If anyone saw us, then let them see." He stepped closer, the crunch of bamboo leaves beneath his boots sounding far too loud in the stillness. "I won't live my life chained to hatred written before I was born." My chest burned at his words. "Our clans demand our loyalty. And what does your heart demand?" His voice cut through me as he closed the distance, close enough that I could feel the heat of his breath on my skin. I should have drawn my blade. I should have remembered every oath I had sworn. Instead, my hand rose and found his chest, trembling against the steady thrum of his heartbeat. "My heart," my voice cracked. "It betrays me." Our lips collided, harder than before, urgency spilling out of us like a flood we could no longer hold back. His hand tangled in my hair, pulling me deeper into the kiss. My fingers clenched in his robes, dragging him closer until our bodies crushed together. Every kiss was rebellion. Every touch treason. We stumbled deeper into the grove, hidden by the tall bamboo stalks that swayed like silent witnesses. I pushed him against a tree, our mouths devouring one another with the hunger of men who didn't know if they'd live to see another dawn. Cloth tore beneath eager hands. My lips left his mouth, trailing down his neck, biting, sucking, leaving marks in places no one else would see. He gasped, fingers digging into my shoulders, pulling me closer. "Yen," his voice trembled, both plea and warning. "We'll burn for this." "Then let me burn," I growled, capturing his lips again. When we finally broke apart, both of us were breathless, robes disheveled, faces flushed. His forehead rested against mine, his eyes dark with unspoken truths. "Do you understand what this means?" he whispered. "If we're discovered, there will be no mercy. They'll kill us before they let this stand." I swallowed hard, my thumb brushing over his swollen lips. "I know." "Then why?" His voice was raw, daring me to lie. My chest rose and fell, heavy with everything I felt. "Because I would rather die by your side than live a life pretending this doesn't exist." His breath hitched, his hands tightening in my robes. He pulled me into another kiss, slower this time, softer, carrying something far deeper than lust. Something terrifying. Something I had no name for but my heart already recognized. From that night on, the grove became ours. It was our refuge, our secret. We met under moonlight, between battles and duties, always with the risk of discovery hanging over us like a blade at our throats. Some nights we only kissed, hungry, desperate kisses that left us shaking when we tore ourselves apart. Other nights we lingered longer, our hands exploring beneath silk, our bodies pressed so tightly together it was as though we were trying to fuse into one. I learned the sound of his laughter, low and rare, a gift he gave only to me. He learned the way my body trembled when his lips brushed the hollow of my throat. But with each stolen moment, the danger grew sharper. Our clans had spies everywhere, and whispers had already begun. Rumors of strange movements in the grove, of warriors returning late with disheveled robes. One evening he arrived with a shallow cut across his cheek. My heart clenched as I traced it with trembling fingers. "Who did this to you?" "My own brother," he answered with a bitter smile. "He said I've been distracted." Blood roared in my ears. "If he touches you again." He silenced me with a kiss, slow and lingering, tasting of defiance. "You'd kill him?" "For me?" "Yes." The answer came out before I could stop it, shocking even me with its certainty. His eyes softened as he pulled back just enough to look at me. "Then it's too late for us to turn back." The next time we met, we abandoned all restraint. The grove buzzed with cicadas, moonlight spilling silver over our bodies as we clung to each other. My hands roamed desperately, sliding beneath his robes, memorizing every line of muscle, every curve of skin. He gasped, his own hands tugging at my sash, pulling me closer until no air remained between us. We kissed like men starved, like the world would end if we let go. His moan vibrated into my mouth, setting me on fire. "Yen," he whispered, trembling against me. "If we keep doing this." "Then let us keep doing it," I growled, dragging my lips down his chest, tasting the salt of his skin. "Let us take what the world denies us." Our passion burned hotter, every kiss a declaration, every touch a defiance. In that grove, beneath the watchful moon, we belonged to no clan, no law. Only to each other. When dawn threatened, we lay tangled in the grass, breathless, our robes in disarray, our hearts pounding in unison. His head rested on my chest, his hair damp with sweat. "Do you think it's possible?" he asked softly. "For us to live in this world without tearing it apart?" I stroked his hair, staring at the pale light filtering through the bamboo. "I don't know. But I know I can't stop loving you no matter the cost." His eyes glistened as he lifted his face to me. "Then we are doomed men." "Perhaps," I whispered, pressing a kiss to his forehead. "But doomed together." We left the grove that morning with swollen lips, marked skin, and hearts bound tighter than ever. Neither of us knew it yet, but the spark we had lit was about to ignite into a fire that would consume not just ourselves, but our entire clans. The storm broke sooner than I ever expected. 4 weeks, Luo Wei and I had stolen nights together in the bamboo grove, wrapped in shadows and heat, believing our secret love could survive beneath the moonlight. But love, like blood, had a way of leaving stains. Whispers had already begun to circle both clans. My absence from meetings. Luo's sudden distractions. The faint marks left on our skin that no sword could have made. It only took one spy, one hidden gaze, one unlucky moment. That night, I went to the grove with fire in my chest. I needed to see him, needed his lips, his body, the solace of his arms. He was already waiting, leaning against a tree, hair unbound, robe loose at the collar. "Late?" he teased softly. "I would cross fire to reach you," I answered, pulling him close, pressing my lips to his in a kiss that was more claim than greeting. We stumbled into the grass, passion flaring. His robe slid from his shoulders, my hand tracing the skin beneath. He moaned against my mouth, arching into my touch. But then, the hiss of steel, the sound of boots. Torches blazed into the grove, throwing light across our tangled bodies. Dozens of warriors from both clans surrounded us. "Traitor," one of my elders roared. "Disgrace." Hands wrenched me back, ripping me from Luo's arms. Blades pressed to my throat. Luo was seized too, dragged down into the dirt, his robe half open, exposing the truth of our betrayal for all to see. Our secret love was no longer a secret. It was a weapon, and it had just been unsheathed. I was dragged before my clan's council, bruised and bloodied, wrists bound in chains. The great hall of the Jiang clan glowed with torchlight, the carved dragons on the walls glaring down at me. "Is it true?" my father demanded, his voice like thunder. "You lay with a Luo? You gave yourself to our enemy?" I lifted my head, lips swollen, eyes burning with defiance. Yes. The council erupted in outrage. Elders slammed fists to tables, shouted curses, spat my name as though it were filth. My father's face turned white with fury. Do you know what you have done? You've dishonored our bloodline, our ancestors. You've betrayed centuries of loyalty. I have betrayed nothing, I said, voice raw. I chose love over hatred. If that makes me guilty, then so be it. The back of his hand cracked across my face. Blood filled my mouth, but my eyes did not waver. You are no son of mine, he spat. From this day you are cast out. Stripped of name, stripped of honor. You are nothing. Meanwhile, Luo endured his own torment. He was bound to a post, shirt torn, his chest bruised where the whip had struck. His brother stood over him, eyes hard. You've shamed us all, his brother growled. Sleeping with a Jiang dog. Did he seduce you, or are you truly this weak? Luo laughed bitterly through bloodied lips. Wait, no. It takes more strength to love than to kill. You wouldn't understand. The whip struck again, fire lashing across his skin. He gritted his teeth, refusing to cry out. I understand enough, his brother sneered. You are no longer Luo. You are nothing but filth. But Luo's thoughts weren't on the pain. They were on me, on my eyes, my hands, my whispered promises. Even stripped of clan, stripped of family, he still had that. And that was enough. Days later, I found myself thrown into a neutral dungeon, and to my cruel surprise, Luo was in the next cell. Soldiers from both clans guarded us. It was a bitter irony, close enough to touch, yet chained apart, awaiting our fates. My body ached, bruises painting my skin, lips split. He was no better, blood crusted his wounds, his wrists raw from chains. Through the bars our fingers reached. The smallest touch, but it burned hotter than any flame. They mean to kill us, I whispered. His lips curved into a bitter smile. Then let us die together. I shook my head, my grip tightening on his hand. No. I swore to protect you. Even if it costs me my life. You've already lost everything, he said softly. Your name, your clan, your honor. My eyes shone in the dim torchlight. Not everything. I still have you. Our foreheads pressed through the bars, lips brushing in a kiss that was clumsy, desperate, blood-tasting. Chains rattled, guards shouted warnings, but we didn't stop. Every kiss was defiance. Every touch was rebellion. By some twisted mercy, or perhaps cruelty, the guards left us unchained one night. Perhaps to mock us, to see what two fallen heirs would do when given the chance. We did not waste it. I pulled him into my arms, pressing him against the cold stone wall, lips devouring him like a man starved. He clung to me, legs wrapping around my waist, our bodies grinding together with frantic urgency. Our clothes fell away forgotten. Our skin pressed hot to hot, every scar, every bruise kissed as though to erase it. Yin, he gasped, head thrown back as my lips traced down his throat, across his chest. If this is the end, then let it be our beginning, I growled, thrusting into him, claiming him with every movement. The dungeon walls echoed with our cries, of pleasure, of pain, of love that defied even the chains meant to bind us. We moved together desperately, every touch a vow, every kiss a promise that no clan could shatter. When we collapsed, tangled and breathless, his fingers brushed my cheek. If we die tomorrow, I'll die with no regret. I pressed a kiss to his lips, fierce and unyielding. No. We'll live. Somehow we'll find a way. Morning came with iron chains and sharp blades. The council of both clans declared their verdict. Not by swift execution, but by spectacle, 2 traitors slain before the gathered clans, our blood a warning to any who dared follow our path. We were dragged from the cell, stripped of dignity, paraded like animals. The crowd roared with hatred, spitting curses, hurling stones. But even as we were forced to our knees, blades at our necks, our eyes found each other. No fear. Only love. His lips formed silent words across the distance. Always yours. My heart thundered. If this was the price of passion, I would pay it 1,000 times over. And in that final moment, as the blades rose, we leaned toward each other, our lips meeting in one last, searing kiss, before steel came down, and the world erupted in blood. But fate is never so simple. One of us would fall that day. The other would rise, scarred and broken, carrying not only the memory of our love, but the ruin it left behind. The world shifted after the revelation. I could not step into the streets without eyes following me, some with pity, others with venom, most with hatred. The clans had drawn lines in blood. Every whisper, every clash of steel, every move on the board of war was now tainted by the truth of our love. Yet even in the suffocating weight of betrayal, our bond did not break. It burned brighter, hotter, a defiance against fate itself. My father summoned me to the council hall of the Azure Blades. The chamber smelled of sandalwood and iron, its walls lined with ancestral swords that glinted like silent judges. "Son," my father said, his voice deep, thunderous, "you have shamed us all. You chose lust over loyalty. Do you deny it?" I lifted my head, my jaw clenched. "No, father. I chose love. I chose life." The slap came hard across my cheek. Pain bloomed hot, but not nearly as sharp as the ache in my chest. "You are no longer my son," he spat. "From this day forward you are cast out. If you return, the blades of our clan will cut you down." I swallowed, my chest tight, but I didn't beg. I didn't plead. My heart had already chosen its master, and that master was Jian. Jian faced his own trial. His clan elders gathered in the Crimson Flame Pavilion, eyes like hawks ready to devour him. "Jian," the Grandmaster growled, his white beard trembling with rage, "you lay with the enemy's son, dishonor dripping from your hands. Do you even understand what this means?" Jian's lips curved into something between a smile and a grimace. "It means I've tasted a love none of you will ever understand. You wield swords, I wield devotion." The Grandmaster slammed his cane against the floor. "Then you wield your own destruction." The sentence he received was harsher in its cruelty. He would remain in the clan but stripped of rank, forbidden from leading, condemned to the lowest duties. A living reminder of disgrace. Yet he bore it with defiance in his eyes, because he knew somewhere beyond the walls, my heart still beat for him. At night, we stole time from a world that wanted us apart. In hidden valleys, in ruined temples long forgotten by history, we met. I pressed him against stone walls still warm from the sun, my lips fierce and hungry. "Even if the world kills me, I will not leave you." His hands tangled in my robes, pulling me closer, his breath hot against my ear. "Let them try. Every cut they give me only deepens my craving for you." Our kisses were bruising, desperate, laced with the terror that each meeting might be the last. Clothes tore under our hands, skin pressed to skin, scars brushing against scars. My voice broke in a ragged whisper as his fingers traced down my chest. "This is madness, but it's the only thing that feels real." His reply was a moan against my throat, a promise carved in heat. "Then let madness be our temple." We loved as if trying to consume the world before it consumed us. Every touch was rebellion. Every shiver, a scream of defiance against our clan's decrees. But love was not invisible. Spies whispered. Rumors grew. One night the azure blade struck first. I barely escaped an ambush, blood dripping from a gash across my shoulder. I staggered into Jian's arms, trembling. "They know," I gasped, my breath shallow. "They won't stop until one of us is dead." Jian pressed his lips against my hair, his own heart racing with fury. "Then let them come. I will fight the world itself if it means keeping you alive." I gripped his hand, weak but unyielding. "No, Jian. Promise me, if it comes to choosing between your life and mine, you will not throw yours away for me." He looked into my eyes, a storm of fire raging within. "Don't you dare ask me that. You are my life." The air between us vibrated with unsaid words, with the ache of knowing our choices were tearing fate itself apart. The clans marched toward war. Every step Jian took into battle, he told me later, he felt the phantom warmth of my body against his. Every sword swing was not for clan, not for honor, but for survival, for the hope of one more night under stolen stars with me. Exiled but unbroken, I became a ghost on the battlefield. Striking fast, vanishing quicker, leaving behind whispers of betrayal and loyalty twisted into something unrecognizable. When we met again, hidden away from blood and smoke, our bodies trembled with both passion and grief. My lips lingered on his neck as if memorizing it. "Every time I hold you, I fear it is the last." His hands dug into my back, his voice breaking. "Then let each time be eternity." And in the silent dark, we clung to each other. Two men against a storm, our devotion echoing louder than the clash of clans. But storms don't wait forever. A betrayal was brewing, one that would demand the ultimate sacrifice. Our love had survived whispers, punishments, and exile. But now it would face the sharp edge of destiny itself. The night before the final battle was too quiet. The moon hung low, pale and mournful, as if it too grieved for the two of us whose love had become the spark of war. I met Jian one last time in the ruins of the Lotus Temple where broken statues watched like silent gods. My body trembled, not from fear, but from the weight of knowing. This war will not end until one of us is gone, Jian whispered, brushing his lips against my temple. Our love lit a fire too bright. It has consumed everything. I pulled him close, kissing him as though I could steal eternity with my mouth. My breath was rough, desperate, tasting of blood and longing. Then let us burn, Jian. Together. Better ashes than chains. Our hands clawed at each other's robes, skin meeting skin, a fever of devotion and despair. Every gasp, every shiver was carved with finality. My teeth scraped his shoulder. His fingers left red streaks down my back. It was not just love, we were sealing a covenant with our bodies. If the world demanded our deaths, then we would give it a love so fierce that death itself would bow. The dawn broke with swords drawn. The azure blades and crimson flame faced each other in the valley, banners whipping in the wind. But in the shadows, betrayal stirred. My father had made a pact with Jian's grandmaster. End us, end the scandal, end the war. Both clans would call it justice. Neither would see it as murder. So when Jian and I charged into battle, side by side for the first and only time, we did not see the trap closing. We fought like gods, back to back, blades flashing, every movement a dance of devotion. Jian's sword cleaved through attackers with fiery precision, while mine flowed like water, deadly and smooth. Together we were invincible. But no warrior can fight betrayal. A dozen blades turned on Jian when my father gave the silent signal. He staggered under the blows, blood seeping into his robes. He roared, striking down 3 men, but there were too many. Jian. My scream tore through the valley. I cut my way through, my sword shaking with fury until I reached him. His knees buckled, crimson staining his lips. Yet when his eyes met mine, they blazed with fire still. No, I choked, catching him, pressing his bloodied body against my chest. Don't you dare leave me. But his hand cupped my face, trembling, tender. If I must die, then let it be in your arms. That way. I win. The world narrowed to the two of us. Lips meeting, blood mixing with tears, a kiss that seared itself into eternity. Then his body stilled, his head falling against my shoulder. My howl shook the heavens. I rose, Jian's lifeless body slipping from my arms, my blade dripping with vengeance. Father. My voice was thunder. You took him from me. You took my heart. The azure blades faltered as they saw the madness in my eyes. I fought like a man who had already died, a storm of steel and grief. One by one they fell before me. But even storms break. My father's sword pierced my chest from behind, the betrayal complete. I gasped, blood filling my mouth, but my lips twisted into a smile. I staggered forward, crawling back to Jian's side, collapsing with my face pressed against my lover's. With my last breath I whispered, "Wait for me, my Jian. In the next life I will find you." And then, silence. The valley fell quiet. Warriors from both clans stared at our lifeless bodies entwined, swords forgotten at their sides. For all their hatred, for all their bloodshed, neither clan could deny what they had just witnessed. Love so fierce it had defied every law of man and clan, even if only for a moment. No victor was named that day. The war ended not in triumph, but in silence, with the memory of 2 men whose devotion burned too hot for the world. Years later, poets sang of Jian and me, the forbidden lovers whose passion changed the land forever. Temples were built where we fell, not to clans but to love itself, love that demanded everything, love that left behind only ashes and legend. And in the whispers of the wind, some swore they could still hear us. A laugh. A kiss. 2 souls finding each other again and again no matter the cost. A love that defied clans, swords, and destiny. Jian and Wei's story proves that even in tragedy, passion can outlive death. If you enjoyed this tale of forbidden love, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to my channel for more steamy BL wuxia stories that will leave your heart racing.